So we're back once again here with the Everett Elks, and unfortunately they don't have themselves a team. It's all 0 overalls once again, but things are going to be different. This time we're not going to be using a wheel to rebuild this team. Instead, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. We have 15 years to win as many Stanley Cups as we can, so this team right here is clearly not going to be able to win a Stanley Cup in the first season, and probably not the second, or third, or even fourth season. The first 5 years are going to be strictly rebuilding. The next 5 years after that, we're going to certify ourselves as one of the best teams in the entire league, and then the final 5 years, that's where we're going to become a dynasty. But it's not just going to be as simple as me going ahead and making as many trades and signings as I want, only 3 moves per season. Whether that's trades or free agent signings, we're only going to be allowed 3. So every single time we make a move here, we got to make sure that we're bringing in multiple players. Like hypothetically, if I want to trade a second and third round pick, I can't just be picking up one guy. I got to get 3, maybe even 4 players if possible. So I think we're going to do this deal to start things off here. A second and third rounder over to the Arizona Coyotes to get Josh Stone and Connor Geekie. Two young guys that are going to develop well for this team. We're probably going to have to include more than a second and third rounder. I'm willing to include one more third rounder, and I think that's the most I'm willing to. So all of these assets right here are the most I'm willing to offer for those 2 players. We're going to be getting both of them. That's going to be the only move I make here. Because cut to the chase, we're tanking. We're going for the first overall pick. Now, whether you consider this cheating or not, it doesn't matter because it's a stick on the ice executive decision here. Now, Josh Stone, I'm actually going to send you down to the AHL. Now, you might be wondering, why in the world would you send Josh Stone down to the AHL? Because technically, our AHL team is better than our NHL team. The Everett Elks themselves are starting with 0 players. The AHL team has a bunch of 68 and 70 overall players, so that's where I want Josh Stone and Connor Geekie playing. They got to play with some 70 overalls and 60 overalls, and not a bunch of 0 overalls. This is going to be much better for their progression. This is the right move to make. So in season number 1, not much is going to happen here. We all know that we're not going to make the playoffs, and we're going to lose every single game this season. So let's simulate to the end of the year and figure out what draft pick we're going to be getting. If we don't get the first overall pick, it's rigged. But then again, we know for a fact we're not getting the first overall. But while we simulate through the season here, we have to pray. Pray that this game doesn't crash. We also have to pray that we can hit 70k subs by the end of the month because we don't have too many days left. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Now, this was a special season for the Everett Elks. 0 goals, 0 wins, 0 nothing this season. All we did was allow goals. Like, we really went 0 for 175 on the power play. We're doing special things out here. On top of that, when it comes to our top scorers on this team, we don't even have any stats to look at. Very rarely does this ever happen, but nope, we have no data for any of the players on this team, no data for any of our goaltenders. This team did a whole lot of nothing. On top of that, the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. That is very interesting. Also, it said Josh Stone had 0 points for us this season. Bro wasn't even on the team. He was in the AHL, so I don't even know what it's yapping about. He had like 60-some points in the AHL. But that doesn't matter. We're focused on who's going to be getting the first overall pick, and of course the Everett Elks are going to drop to the 3rd overall pick, and St. Louis is somehow getting number 1. Not too sure how the St. Louis Blues were that bad, but in all seriousness, how did we drop from 1 to 3? We didn't win a single game. We didn't take a single shot. We didn't score a single goal this season, and you're telling me we're dropping from 1 to 3. It ain't right. Okay, so there's 2 things I'm happy about. Number 1, we're not going to see a franchise potential player going number 1. The next thing I'm happy about, Kane Lindstrom, more than likely we're going to be selecting you. You're a stick on the ice legend, and it only makes sense for us to select you with our first pick. So with the Everett Elks' first pick in the draft here, Kane Lindstrom's going to be joining us. We already know what kind of player this guy turns into. He's a stick on the ice legend, but now he's about to be an Everett Elks legend. Now boys, we're about to get ourselves a superstar here. With the 133rd overall pick, who are we going to be selecting? Medium league potential goaltender who's also a gem. This guy's going to be a superstar goaltender for us in the future. He's going to be the guy we're locking down long term. We're in year number 1 here, and we already have our goaltender. You'd love to see it. Also, on top of getting that medium league potential goaltender who is a gem, we got this medium star potential goaltender. He's not a gem, but he's got medium star potential, so he's going to have a bit of trade value. So we got some big moves during the re-sign phase. Caden Lindstrom, I'm going to sign you here, but I'm actually going to send you back to the CHL. I don't want to waste a year on your contract. Then again, you're going to play some first line minutes here, and you're going to be on the ice 25 minutes a game. I take it back, you're actually playing this season. And then when it comes to literally every single other player on this team, they're all walking. Alright, so we have the 2024 free agent class here. So we're going to see guys like Jonathan Marchessault, Patrick Kane, Tyler Toffoli, Brandon Montour available here. I'm thinking I'm going to probably just sign 3 guys here in free agency, and then I'm going to trade them away at the deadline at 50% retained. Then we can get some more assets, because let's face it, I can't afford to trade all of our picks away, and really we don't have that many assets on this team anyways. So we're going to start with Jonathan Marchessault, and I think we'll do $11 million for the next 3 years. We're getting absolutely scammed, but then again, he is up to a 91 overall, so I think this is actually a good deal for us. Patrick Kane, we're actually going to get a bit risky with you. I'm going to do a 2-year deal at $11 million, and I'm going to retain your contract for the next 2 years. players. And I think by doing that, we'll be able to get so many assets, it's going to be ridiculous. And then the final player we're going to give a deal to, that's going to be Brandon Montour. We're going to do $9.2 million for 1 season. I don't want to only bring forwards onto the team. I want to bring 1 defenseman I can at least trade away. So those are going to be the 3 moves I'm doing this season. Of course, I'm going to re-sign all these guys. They're looking for one-way contracts. Yeah, that's just not happening. Or I guess that guy's looking for a one-way contract. Everyone else I think is looking for a 2-way contract. Why does this Joe NHL right here think he's worth a 1-way contract at $1.1 million? Every single other Joe NHL is like, yeah, you know what? I know I have 0 value whatsoever, but this Joe NHL right here, he thinks he's special. But you're not that guy. So moving into year number 2 here, we're going to see Kane Lindstrom, Patrick Kane, and Jonathan Marceau on the top line. Then it's going to be Connor Geeky and Josh Stone on the second line with a 0 overall player. When it comes to the defense, Brandon Montour, you're going to play some big minutes for us. Then you'll be traded away at the deadline. Then when it comes to goaltenders, we have a 54 overall, we got 48 overall. They both have decent enough potential though, so as long as they live up to the hype, we'll be in a great spot. Alright, so stick on the ice. Just realize he's going to have to change the rules here because we're only allowed 3 moves per season. And technically, we already made all 3 moves during free agency because we signed 3 free agents. So I'm going to be changing the rules slightly here. I'm allowed 3 moves per season. However, if I sign somebody in free agency and the plan is to trade them at the trade deadline, that doesn't count as an additional move. That only counts as 1 move. So the signing of Patrick Kane and the trade of Patrick Kane, that only counts as 1 move. Basically, I didn't consider the fact that after I signed those players, I would be out of moves and I wouldn't be able to trade them away. So signing them to 1-year deals was very pointless. I'm not going to sign Patrick Kane for 1 year and just ride out his contract. I'm trading that man away. So I understand the trade values aren't even close here, but I am retaining half of Patrick Kane's contract for the next 2 years, and I think that's going to boost the value a ton. Him and Brandon Montour are going to be sent over to the Minnesota Wild. We're going to get Marco Kasper, we're getting Marco Rossi, and we're getting Brock Faber here. If we could somehow pull off this deal, that would be massive for us. They're going to be saying no. I'm willing to take out Brock Faber though. If we can get Marco Kasper and Marco Rossi, I'm going to be happy with this deal. They're going to say no, but you know what? We have draft picks we can use. I don't want to have to trade a ton of draft picks away here, but if I have to include a 3rd and 4th rounder in order to get this deal done, I'm definitely willing to do that. They're going to be saying no to that one. Do I just trade for one of these guys? So how about we do this instead? You give me Marco Kasper, a 1st, a 2nd rounder, then 2 young players. I feel like that's a pretty fair deal for both sides. They're going to be saying no. What do I value more, the 2nd round pick or the prospects? I think I'd rather have the prospects. So instead of a 1st round pick, how about we do 2 2nd rounders instead? It's going to be much easier to get the deal done this way. They're going to be saying no to that. Give me 1 2nd round pick. I got to get a bid draft compensation here. They're going to say no, but all we have to do is include a 7th round pick. So there's a 7th round pick for 2025, and just like that, we pulled off one of the biggest trades of the day. So this is going to be the final trade for this season. Jonathan Marceau at 50% retained for the next 3 years. We're also going to get a 3rd round pick here. Casey Milstead and Samuel Girard, 2 guys that are immediately going to help the team, and they're on some pretty good contracts. They're going to be saying no right off the bat here. Do you want a prospect? I'm actually willing to give you a prospect. So I'll give you this young player right here. If you give me Casey Milstead and Samuel Girard, that's a good move for us. So we're 2 seasons down so far, and obviously things are still not looking good for the team here. An 0-2 season once again, but we did score 50 goals. We're making some strides in the right direction, and the goaltending was way better this season. Only 8 goals allowed per game. We've cut that in half already. Next season we'll only be allowing 4. Then the season after that 2. Season after that 1 goal per game, and we're just a couple seasons away from 0.5 goals allowed per game. I think that's some pretty good logic to be using here. Casey Milstead, he's going to lead the way with 56 points, but technically he didn't really lead the way here because Josh Doan did. He was here from day number 1, 12 goals, 11 assists for 23 points. Casey Milstead, what did you do since joining the team here? 8 points in 18 games honestly isn't as bad as I thought it would be. So I'll definitely take 8 points in 18 games. And then when it comes to our goaltenders, of course, neither of these guys are going to be picking up wins, but an 859 and 828, honestly, I was expecting way worse. And an 870 and a 772, the backup was holding it down, that's for sure. So to finish off this season, it looks like the Minnesota Wild are going to be making a push for the Stanley Cup, and they're going to be able to win, taking the New Jersey Devils down in a sweep. Considering that team just picked up Brandon Montour and Patrick Kane, are you really surprised? I'm certainly not. Now there is one thing I care about here, and that's us getting the 1st overall pick. I'm not dropping from 1 to 3 again. That's not going to be happening, and I'm happy to say it actually isn't happening. We're not getting screwed here. We're getting the 1st overall. Now please give me a franchise potential star. So are we going to get incredibly lucky here, and the 1st overall pick happens to be a franchise potential star? We're not too sure. He is a gem though. We're going with this guy. I'm not even contemplating the decision. We got to select him. Mediumly potential right winger. He's a gem though, so it's definitely worth the pick. Obviously I would prefer it if you're a franchise potential star, but but I'll definitely take an 80 overall gem. Now we got ourselves a great player late in the draft here in the 4th round with the 100th overall pick, a low elite potential power forward who's also a gem. So we got ourselves a gem in the 4th round here. You'll love to see it. So in the re-sign phase, absolutely nothing happened, but we do have some extensions to give out. We're starting with Josh Doan, 1.1 million for the next 8 years. Yes, we're doing stupid moves out here. Marco Casper, I want to do an 8-year deal with you. 6.5 million right now might seem like a lot, but you're going to play some top line minutes. We're going to develop you into a superstar, and this is going to be a steal of a deal for us. So I'll do 6.1 for the next 8 years. I'm loving that contract right there. All right, so we're about to pull off a massive trade here. As we know, we've brought in a handful of two-way forwards, power forwards, and even a playmaker. What don't we have on the team? Snipers. So Dawson Mercer, you can be one of our snipers, 87 overall, and Holtz, you can be our other sniper, 83 overall. A prospect and 2 second-round picks sent over to the New Jersey Devils. They're going to say no to that. I'm willing to give up 3 second-round picks if I have to. I don't really want to give up 3 second-round picks, but you know what? We're going to have to do that. So that's trade number 1 here. I think we got to get ourselves a playmaker. So Marco Casper, I know I was about to give you a massive deal, but things have changed here, and we need another playmaker. So I'm going to package you along with the 3rd-round pick. We're bringing in Kurashev. Now he's going to be our second-line playmaker, 86 overall. He's got an X factor. We're also going to take a bit of a risk on Alex Vlasic, 82 overall. This man usually doesn't progress that well in Sims, but you know what? We're going to play him on the number 1 line with Samuel Girard. We're going to have 2 great defensemen here. Vlasic, you're going to turn into a superstar. So with our final move, we're going to bring in another forward here. It's going to be Trent Frederick to a 3x3, 84 overall. He can play some good bottom 6 minutes for us, so I actually really like that deal. So we've made a couple trades, and we just made a nice free agent signing, but Dawson Mercer, you still need a bag here. And what are you looking for? 8.7 million. We're going to wait on that deal. Holtz, what are you looking for? Hopefully we can do something cheap with you. 8 years at 2.8 million or something. I like that contract. We'll do 2.75 for the next 8. I feel like that's pretty fair for both sides. You get your money and we get you long term. All right, Dawson Mercer, I'm going to keep it a stack. You're playing 1 season with this team, then you're being traded away. Here's 3.7 million. Look how much this man wants if we were to do an 8-year deal. $12 million. If we were just to do 2 years with him, $6 million. Borderline 7. It's 6.95. Then we just keep on adding years. You keep on adding $1 million per season. This is absurd. So here's 1 year, 3.7 million. I might even trade you away at the deadline. I haven't decided. So the second this season's up, unless you smarten up, you're going to be traded away. This man's asking price was $4 million. I gave him 3.7 and he said no. He said no to that deal and now wants $5 million. You're not coming to the team. I refuse to play you this season. Now, since Dawson Mercer is going to be such a big L mans here, I don't care if he doesn't play for the team. Casey Milstead, Caden Lindstrom, and Holtz on the 1st line. Nordgren, Kurashev, and Trent Frederick are going to hold it down the 2nd. When you look at the 3rd line, you're going to see Connor Geeky, Josh Doan, a 0 overall player. So we're making strides. Alex Vlasic, as I said, you're going to play some 1st line minutes this season alongside Samuel Girard. You're going to be on the ice a lot. I'm hoping you progress. And then when it comes to goaltending, we have our medium elite potential players up to a 62 overall, but our medium star potential players up to a 60 already. So you never know, the medium star potential player might be taken over sooner than I thought. So the team's headed in the right direction. A 4-78 record this season. We won 4 games, scoring over a goal per game. The moves we made over the offseason definitely helped, except for Dawson Mercer, because that man did not play a single game for this team. I was trying to re-sign him before we got to January 1st. Do you know what he asked for on January 1st? $7 million for 1 year. His asking price went from $4 million at the beginning of the season to $7 million on January 1st, so I'm not bringing him here. Samuel Girard, 61 points, you're leading the way. Holtz is picking up 53. He was a great pickup. Middlestat looked great, 53. Kurashev, Lindstrom, Trent Frederick, you guys are doing your thing. And Alex Vlasic as a defensive defenseman, I'll definitely take 22 points. When it comes to goaltending, Langkow, he's going to be leading the way with 3 wins here, an 888 and a 611. He's up to a 67 overall with his medium league potential. He's going to be looking for an extension next season. The second I'm allowed to give him an extension, I'm going to be looking at an 8-year contract. But with another disappointing season means we're not going to be making the playoffs once again here. The Winnipeg Jets are taking down the Washington Capitals in 7 games. Next season, we have to see some big changes with this team. We got to start seeing a bit more success than this. Like, we almost have a complete forward core. We have 8 of our 12 forwards. Yeah, the defense needs work and so does the goaltending, but we almost have a complete forward core here. I feel like we should be scoring more than 1.5 goals per game. But as we know, we're going to be dead last in the entire league once again, so we're going to be getting another fantastic pick here. Are we going to get the 1st overall? Of course not, because Chicago's going to jump from 9 to 1. Seems about right. Now, if I see a franchise potential player available with the 1st overall selection, I'm going to be definitely trading for that pick. We're not going to be seeing that. Gavin McKenna, I'm kind of hoping you drop down to the 3rd overall pick. So can a miracle happen here and Gavin McKenna drops to number 3? It doesn't look like that's going to be happening. I don't really know who we select here. I mean, picking up a left defenseman is probably the move, and that's actually what we're going to do here. This defense needs a lot of help, so a left defenseman will definitely help us. 79 overall. He's probably going to have some X factors to begin his career. It doesn't look like it. 2-way defender. I mean, this isn't a bad selection in the slightest. Okay, Dawson Mercer, you dropped to an 83 overall because you didn't play last season, so I'm not overly shocked at that. But there is one thing that really annoys me here. Let's give him a contract. Oh, $7.1 million for an 83 overall. I'm going to trade you for scraps. I gave a lot of assets away to get you, and then this is how you're going to repay me by being an absolute bum? Nah, Dawson Mercer's the biggest L-mans of all time. So Dawson Mercer, you will never play a minute for the Everett Elks here. I'm going to trade you away. You're the most unreasonable player of all time. Wallstrom's going to join the team here. Samuel Bolduc is going to join the team. I just want to get rid of Dawson Mercer. Oh, the Islanders, they think they got some fantastic deal here. Yada, yada, yada. Yep, Dawson Mercer, $7.2 million for an 83 overall for 3 years. What are you cooking up over there? Alright, so Trent Frederick, I brought you in last season during free agency, and you played some big minutes for us, and you weren't even that bad. 14 goals, 17 assists in 82 games. You were a good player for us. However, we need some more players here. So Hyndman and Josh Roy are both going to be acquired from the Montreal Canadiens here. We need to include a 7th round pick because they won't say yes unless we give them that 7th round pick. But you know what? These are going to be 2 good guys for the bottom 6 here. I think we're 3 forwards away and 2 defensemen. And then with our final move, because we have $46 million in cap space, we're going to bring somebody in on a 1-year deal and then trade him away here. Haven't really decided who that's going to be. Jack Eichel, he'd be a good player to sign and then trade away on a 1-year deal. Who's willing to sign a 1-year deal though? Patrick Kane. Don't really want to do a 1-year deal with Patrick Kane here. I mean, Victor Hedman wouldn't be the end of the world. We could go with Victor Hedman. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Victor Hedman, a 1-year deal at $12 million, and I'll trade you away at the deadline. So we've headed to next season, but now it's extension time. Samuel Girard, we're going to start with you. We're going to do $8 million for the next 5 years. A pretty fair deal for you. Oliver Wahlstrom, I can't give you an extension yet, but Caden Lindstrom, I can give you one, and we're locking you down for 8 years. No question about it. I don't care what you're asking for. I take it back. You're wanting $16 million. That might not happen. Samuel Bolduc, can you be reasonable here? We can do 2.8 for the next 3 years. I think that's a fair deal for you. You're an 82 overall. Connor Geekie, what are you going to be asking for? Can we do a long-term deal at a cheap price? I think we'll be able to. We can do 8 years at $1 million. I like that contract right there. Even if you only become like an 81, 82 overall player, I like that deal for you. And then when it comes to this medium-elite potential goaltender, we're taking a bit of a risk. An 8-year deal, $1.3 million. We're going to hope he develops for us. When it comes to the medium starter potential goaltender, actually I think we're going to do the same thing here. We'll do 1.1 for the next 8 years. So we have our goaltending tandem locked down for the next 8. It's a 71 to 62. So we've made a lot of big time moves with this team. Casey Milstead, Wallstrom, and Caden Lindstrom are going to man that first line. Holtz, Kurashev, Norgren, they're going to hold it down in the second. I feel like we've actually built a really solid forward core here, barring the 4th line. When it comes to the defense, we've run great pieces, of course. We have Victor Hedman, Samuel Girard, Bolduc, and Vlasic. Vlasic's up to an 83 overall. He continues to look great. Then when it comes to goaltending, we're just trusting the process here. But as we know, since I signed Victor Hedman to a 1-year deal, I'm trading him away at the trade deadline. Hopefully we can get some great assets for him. So we're at the trade deadline here, and it's no surprise the Everett Elks are the worst team in the entire league, but a 14-45-4 record is definitely progression. We're scoring 2.1 goals per game, allowing 4.59. I mean, we already knew the defense was going to be bad here, but the offense is stepping up. Victor Hedman, 43 points. You still have a ton of trade value. We're going to capitalize on that. Kurashev, 38 points. Casey Milstead, 37. Wallstrom, 36. I'm going to be honest, I'm actually very surprised this team's as bad as they are, especially considering we actually don't have the worst team here. Like, yeah, we don't have a 4th line, and yeah, we don't have a 3rd defensive pairing, and we have 2 bad goaltenders, but you're telling me our team is this bad? So Victor Hedman, this is the trade you're going to be involved in. I'm going to retain 50% of your money, and you're going to the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to get Marty Necas in this deal. We're going to get Jacob Middleton, and we're going to get a 2nd round pick. If I can't get the 2nd round pick, it's not the end of the world, but I do want to pick up Marty Necas and a defenseman in this deal. They're going to be saying no. All we have to do is include a 7th round pick. We're getting this deal done. So Marty Necas and Jacob Middleton, welcome to the Everett Elks. After I give you another 7th round pick, which I don't have, so here's a 6th round pick instead. A 7th, a 6th, and Victor Hedman for Marty Necas and Jacob Middleton. I like that deal. So we just made that big trade at the deadline, but we're not done with the moves yet. Oliver Wahlstrom, you're going to be returning. We're doing 4.6 for the next 4 years. Caden Lindstrom, what are you going to be looking for? Hopefully you've smartened up a little bit. I can do a deal like this. It's going to be just over $9 million for the next 8 years here. We'll do $9.4 million. I love that deal for Caden Lindstrom. He's got high elite potential and 85 overall already. That's a no-brainer. Now this team is almost there. We're very close to being top 20 in the entire league. A 1958-5 record. We were only 9 wins back of the Philadelphia Flyers, and next season we're going to have an entire forward core, an entire defensive core, and hopefully our goaltenders are better. I think that's the one thing really holding this team back right now. Well, it's goaltending and coaching, because let's face it, we have a terrible coach right now. Marty Necas, what'd you do when you joined the team here? 19 points in 19 games. Yeah, you were minus 14, but yeah, this team's showing a lot of potential. potential now. I've been using the word potential way too much in this video, but at the end of the day, that's what this team's all about. We're all about showing potentials. Line count only a 71 overall, and then our backup only a 62. Okay, you guys got to eventually become better. I mean, yes, you've become better over the years here, but I need at least 180 overall. Even a 79 overall for next season will be good enough. The Edmonton Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup, taking the Florida Panthers down in 7 games, so they're going to get back here and they're going to get their revenge. But that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on the first overall pick and drafting a franchise potential superstar. So last season, the Chicago Blackhawks screwed us and they jumped from 9-1. But you know what? We're not going to allow that to happen this time. We're just going to allow Seattle to jump from 6-1. And then we're going to drop to the 3rd overall pick. That seems about right. So I think in a draft like this, we just have to go with the best player available. We don't need another left defenseman. But you know what? Like, the other options aren't great. Like, high top 6, I don't want that. We don't need any more right wingers. We don't really need any more centermen. If anything, we need a left winger. But this guy only has medium top 6. So we're going to go with the medium league potential left defenseman here, 78 overall. We'll give him another season to develop in juniors. And then once Jacob Middleton's off the books, he'll join the lineup. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I did not realize I traded literally all of our picks away. I thought we had like 3 or 4 picks to work with. Nope, we only had 2. I literally traded everything away. So we already know the re-sign phase is going to be really quiet because we've already signed everyone. Nordgren, I want to lock you down to an 8-year deal, and we actually might be able to do that. I was thinking you're going to be looking for $16-7 million. We can do 8.8 for the next 8 years. I think that's a fair deal for you. Kurashev, I haven't really decided on you. You don't have the greatest fit with the team, but at this asking price, I can't really pass up on you. So I'll do 4.7 for the next 4 years. That's going to be a great deal for you. Jacob Middleton, we're going to let you walk here, and then Josh Roy or Josh Waugh, not really too sure what it is. I'll do a 5-year deal or something. We'll do 2.5 million. So 5 years at 2.5, I can work with that money. Now this is going to be by far the biggest risk we take today. Jacob Middleton in a 1st round pick over to the Philadelphia Flyers for the 2029 season. So it's not this upcoming season, it's the year after. Jamie Drysdale, Noah Cates, and 2 2nd round picks are going to be acquired here. Well, maybe we won't get 2 2nd round picks. We'll be able to get 1 though. Now if this team doesn't show a lot of promise at the end of this season, I'm trading for a goaltender. Goaltending is literally going to be the only thing that potentially holds us back this season. If the goaltending does hold us back, we're making a move next season, no question about it. So to finish off all the moves we're going to do this season, it's going to be Philip Hedl. I'll give you $5.9 million for 1 season. And we do have to bring in 1 right defenseman here. I'll do Perbix, $1.4 million for 2 years. We officially have a complete forward core, a complete defensive core. The goaltending's still questionable, but you know what? I think our goaltender is going to progress a ton over the offseason, and he's going to be ready to win a Stanley Cup next season. So I haven't looked at our goaltenders overall, but just look at the forward core. Marty Necas, Caden Lindstrom, Wallstrom, Norgren, Casey Milstead, Alexander Holtz. We have a really good forward core. I think you can make the argument we have the best forward core in the NHL. The only thing we're missing here is an actual superstar. We have a lot of great players, a lot of amazing players, but no superstar. When it comes to the defense, the left side's incredibly weak here, but you know what? We have a medium league potential defenseman, 82 overall. He's going to develop into a star. Playing alongside Jamie Drysdale, Samuel Jard's going to be on that second pairing. The goaltending is really going to determine this team, 73 and a 67. Langkow, I just don't think you're going to be the guy for us. 21 years old, only a 73 overall. You guys start progressing a lot quicker here. 67 overall is the backup. That's not going to cut it here. So this is going to be the last season we run these 2 goaltenders right here. We're either going to be making a trade or we're going to be bringing in a goaltender in free agency, one of the 2. So this team was actually really good this season, except for our record wasn't good. And why wasn't our record good? Well, we can't play defense. We were 31st in the entire league, a 30, 40, and 12 record. The big difference though, we just don't play defense here. We're allowing 3.7 goals per game. I mean, the offense wasn't good here either, but it was a lot better than it has been in the past. I think if we fix the defense, this team's going to be making the playoffs. Marty Necas, 87 points here. Lindstrom's picking up 61. Wallstrom, 52. Philip Hedl, 50. At the end of the day, I think it just comes down to the goaltending. If the goaltending's better, this team will see success across the board. Langkow, 75 overall. You're just not going to be the guy here. Our backup, who has medium star potential, he's not going to be the guy. We're bringing in a goaltender next season. Once we bring in a true goaltender, this team's going to completely turn it around and we're going to be winning Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. We've completed the first 5 years, which was strictly rebuilding the team. The next step, certifying ourselves as one of the best in the entire league, and with the team we built so far, that really shouldn't be too difficult. So there's only a few things guaranteed in life: death and taxes. But I think we have to add something else to that list: dropping in the draft. We're dropping from 3 to 5. Only 1 time so far in the first 5 seasons have we actually stuck at the number 1 overall pick. Every other year we've dropped in the draft. Ridiculous. Now when it comes to the draft, I am asking for one thing here: please be a franchise potential player projected number 1. We don't know here. It's unknown, so yeah, I guess we're not going to be trading up for this guy. If he was franchise potential, I was definitely making a move. Yeah, that's tough. That's real tough. Could have had an 84 overall franchise potential player, but instead I'm going to get like some 78 overall medium elite. So I guess we're just going to go with the best player available here. That's going to be Jim Muzzin, left winger. He's a two-way forward. We don't need more two-way forwards on this team, but he's the best player available, so we're going to select him. But hold on, wait a minute. We might be cooking here. We just got a medium elite potential player in the draft here. So the draft's going to continue, and we're going to continue to get great players here. A low elite potential playmaker, but bro's a gem, so ideally he's going to turn into a star player for us. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, we're going to get this guy right here as entry level contract. Other than that, everyone's going to be walking. So from here on out, it's either going to be players I bring to the team or players we draft. The CPU is not cooking up anything for us anymore, because the CPU would make the odd signing just so we have players in the AHL, but that's not going to be happening anymore. We have enough players under contract. Every player that joins the Everett Elks organization is going to be my call. So there's a couple guys here that need extensions. One of them is going to be Hyman, but we're just going to do 2.7 for the next 5 years. That's less than what he's getting paid right now. And then when it comes to Casey Middlestat, okay, this is a no-brainer. I might do an 8-year deal with you. Okay, never mind, you're 25 years old. I'll do a 4-year deal at like 2.7 million. That's an amazing contract for him. He might move down to the bottom 6, and then we just might trade for a superstar playmaker. All right, so clearly the first thing we have to do here is get ourselves a goaltender. So our medium star potential goaltender, Alex Vlasic, and a 3rd-round pick is going to be sent over to the Buffalo Sabres. Devin Levi, welcome to the team. You have to save this franchise. And then when it comes to Devin Levi, of course, he's getting an 8-year deal. We're doing 6.8 million for the next 8 years. He's going to be sticking around long term. All right, so Josh Doan's progression's been amazing, and you already know we're only paying that man 1.1 million. So Kurashev, we don't really need you anymore. So I'm going to package you up along with Bolduc over to the Arizona Coyotes. We're bringing Dylan Guenther here. This team needs to score more goals, and that's what Dylan Guenther's going to bring to the team. They're going to be saying no to that first package, but of course a 4th rounder will probably make the difference, so I'll include that. They're still saying no. Another 4th round pick maybe. So hopefully 2 4th round picks is going to be enough when we send that over. They're saying no. They just want that lucrative 7th round pick. So here's a 7th round pick for 2029, and just like that, Dylan Guenther's joined the team. So we got to do one free agent signing. That's going to be Liljegren, 7.3 million for 1 season. He's looking for a 5-year deal at 6.5, so that's why I'm paying so much. Now this is the beginning of certifying ourselves as one of the best teams in the entire league. Marty Necas, Dylan Guenther, Wallstrom on the top line, Norgren, Josh Doan, and Kane Lindstrom on the second line. The bottom 6 is looking great here. The defensive core is still looking really strong, but what's the one main difference? Obviously that comes in between the pipes. 85 overall Devin Levi. Langkow, you're a 78 overall backup. That's going to be good enough for us here. Devin Levi, I need you to have an incredible season. I need you to have a career season with this team. We got to get into the playoffs. This team is yet to see the playoffs, and we're 5 years into the rebuild. Things have not gone well for us. To be fair, I was banking on that medium elite potential goaltender progressing a lot faster since he was in the NHL his entire career, but that just didn't happen. Devin Levi, you're an 85 overall. You can save this team. Now Everett, I'm going to be completely honest. I was expecting you guys to be way better this season. I thought now that we had a goaltender, everything was going to change for this team. Clearly not. 23rd in the entire league, a 29-29-8 record. I've done a very poor job of building this team. Like, I'll take some of the blame, but I'm not taking all the blame here. Marty Necas, 56 points. Jamie Drysdale, the 2nd leading scorer on this team, 52 points. Dylan Guenther, what are you doing out there? Norgren, what are you doing out there? Oliver Wallstrom, what are you doing out there? And to cap it all off, Caden Lindstrom, what are you doing, my guy? 29 points in 66 games. You are playing on the 2nd line. How do you only have 29 points in 66 games? Like, this team, I guess, is just refusing to score. It's absolutely ridiculous. And when it comes to goaltending, Devin Levi, you're way better than every goaltender we've had in the past, but you're still playing like absolute crap. Now, the one thing I will take the blame on is our defense here, because there's one thing I really didn't consider when building this team. Jamie Drysdale, offensive defenseman. Samuel Girard, offensive defenseman. One of the defensemen we drafted who has medium elite potential, offensive defenseman. Maybe it would help if we had a defensive defenseman here, but even still, our defense really shouldn't be this bad, and even with all those offensive defensemen, our offense really isn't that good. So we're just going to pray that we somehow sneak into the postseason here. We can't make any moves because we already made all 3. Yeah, this team's in a really tough spot. All right, I think it's time to stop messing around here. It's time for a stick on the ice statement. We have 4 more years to certify ourselves as one of the best in the entire league. And how are we going to do that? We're about to win 2 Stanley Cups in the next 4 years. Everett's going to completely turn around. 26th in the entire league. We don't even own our 1st round pick. Okay, that is great. I completely forgot we traded our 1st round pick away. The offense on this team was awful. The goaltending was awful too. I think the Florida Panthers won a Stanley Cup. No, it was the Edmonton Oilers. We don't care about any of that. Let's move on to next season. What are the odds our pick jumps to number 1? I can guarantee right now we would have got the 1st overall pick. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's dropping from 8 to 9. Wow, who would have seen that coming? Even when we don't own our pick, it drops from 8 to 9. I can't seem to catch a break here. So we finally got ourselves a defensive defenseman. The only issue, he's a 63 overall. He does have medium top 4 potential, and he was a gem, but he's only a 63 overall, so it's going to take a while before he jumps into the lineup. On top of that medium top 4 potential defenseman, and absolute steal later in the draft with the 74th overall. We got ourselves a medium elite potential sniper, and he's starting off as a 69 overall, so that's a great sign for him. You know what? Missing the playoffs might not have been the worst thing in the world here, because we are getting steal after steal in the draft. Now we're getting a low elite potential sniper. So we're at the re-sign phase. We have $25 million to work with, and I'm not bringing anyone back here. Devin Levi, okay, I guess you only accepted your qualifying offer. I mean, that's not the end of the world. We're still going to get you for a cheap price here. I'll do 6.9 for the next 7 years. As long as you accept that, we're going to be in a great spot. Bro, what are you doing here? Like, what are we really doing? I'll give you exactly what you want. Like, are you really that mad over 200k? I'm going to send you basically exactly what you want here. You better be accepting that deal. But first, we have to wait for all the scouts to re-sign, because yeah, I had to re-sign about 9 million scouts here. Devin Levi, where are you going to be saying, okay, how many scouts did I re-sign? Are you kidding me? I am giving you exactly what you're asking for, and you refuse to sign with this team. Here is 7.4 million for the next 7 years. Stop being greedy. Help this team here. Is 7.4 enough for you? We have to wait for the scouts to keep on re-signing. Okay, how many scouts do I have to re-sign? I think I re-signed like 15 of them. This is actually absurd. Devin Levi, I actually just don't like you. You are my number one ops right now. I never thought I'd have to do this. $8 million for the next 7 years. I am almost overpaying this man $1 million just to stay on the team. Not too happy about that. Now, Kane Lindstrom, I thought you were going to be one of the centerpieces of this team. I thought you were going to lead us to greatness. And then I saw what you did last season. 38 points in 82 games is an 89 overall. Unacceptable. You're being traded over to the St. Louis Blues. We're getting a 90 overall defensive defenseman. He's going to save this team. We're getting a first round pick and a second round pick. St. Louis, you better give me all these assets. I'll take the first rounder. You're really not going to give me that first round pick. So instead of a first round pick, you're going to have to give me a second and 2 third rounders for Kane Lindstrom. I'm not getting finesse here. You're going to give me as many assets as possible. All right, Samuel Girard, as you know, we have way too many offensive defensemen. Brandon Carlo, you are a defensive defenseman. That means you can play for this team. We're also going to pick up this other defenseman in the deal. He's going to play some third pairing minutes, and we're getting a fourth round pick as well. Ottawa's getting a steal here. Wait till you see Samuel Girard play defense in this simulation, because apparently that man is not existing on defense. Don't know what's going on in this simulation, but apparently nobody on the Everett Elks knows how to play defense. Now this is going to be the final trade we do here, and I'm just going to pray this team turns around. Wallstrom, a second, a fourth, and another second sent over to the Vegas Golden Knights. We bring in Joe Aginla, nice young player, 88 overall or something, 86 overall. We're also going to bring in Tomas Hertl. Supposedly he fits on all forward lines. I don't really care where he fits on this team as long as he can play for us. They're going to say no to this deal. Do I give up another first round pick? Like, do I just get incredibly risky here and give up multiple first round picks? Actually, I'll just give up St. Louis' second round pick for next season. They're saying no to that. This is going to be a bad trade, isn't it? Like, I'm really about to trade one of our first round picks in order to get this deal done. Tomas Hertl's a rental. I am trading a first round pick for a rental and multiple second round picks. Like, look at this package I'm sending over. Wallstrom, a first, a third, and a second rounder for Joe Aginla and Tomas Hertl. They're still saying no, and I'm not done. Here's a second round pick from the Everett Elks. What am I doing? This is a bad trade. What did I just do? So I made a trade. Was it a good trade? Absolutely not, but I made a trade. And after making those trades, we have players we need to re-sign. So are we going to have enough money for everyone? Absolutely not. We have $25 million to work with. Jamie Drysdale, we're getting you pretty cheap, 8.7 for the next 5 years. That's not too bad. Joe Aginla, I'm very scared with you. What are you going to be looking for? I want to do an 8-year deal with you. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. So how does 6 years at 7.8 million sound? I think that's pretty fair for you. Tomas Hertl, we're not going to bring you back. And then we have this medium elite potential defenseman here. And what's he looking for? Okay, we actually might be able to afford everyone. Based on the contracts I'm giving out, I think I'm more than $25 million here. But you know what? We'll see what happens. So this is the biggest season by far. Natchez, Gunther, Norgren, Joe Aginla, all of you guys have to have career seasons. The second line might be a bit weak here. We only have an 84 overall Milstat and an 82 overall Muzzin. But Muzzin does have medium elite potential, so he should be getting better. The bottom six is good here with good line chemistry boost. The defense is good. Yeah, the third pairing might be a bit weak here, but look at that top pairing getting a +5 boost. We have a couple defensive defensemen here. That's going to solve a lot of issues. Devin Levi is up to an 87 overall. We have an 83 overall backup. It's the Everett Elks time to shine. This is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for a season like this. Now all you have to do is actually perform. Don't choke here. Perform as you should, and we should be sitting at the top of the league. Now this right here is a glorious sight. At the trade deadline, first in the entire league, a 38-16-9 record. The team has finally figured it out, and we're going to make a push for a Stanley Cup. However, I will say the one thing that concerns me is our offense isn't really that great. 3.13 goals per game is definitely not good enough. However, our defense is spectacular, so I think that's going to save us. Like Dylan Gunther, you've been great this season, 31 goals. Marty Natchez, you've been better, 53 points here. Jamie Drysdale, great. Norgren, great. Casey Milstat, you're doing pretty good on that second line. Joe Aginla, 36 points and only 12 goals. I was expecting you to be a bit better. And Tomas Hertl, I was also expecting you to be better. You fit on nearly every line. Then again, you are 36 years old, so what can I really expect from you? When it comes to our goaltending, both of them are amazing. And Devin Levi, what a bounce back season. 33 wins, 2 shots, a 914, a 216 68, you're the backbone of this team. As long as he looks good, the entire team's going to look good. So as we know, I made all 3 moves at the beginning of the season. I was making some big time trades, so we can't do anything here at the trade deadline. So I'm just going to go ahead, simulate the rest of this season, and ideally finish first overall. So with how the first several years went for this rebuild, I never thought we'd see the day that the Everett Elks are 3rd in the entire league, a 47, 25, and 10 record. This team's finally about to see the playoffs. After years of constant disappointment, here we are, and Dylan Guenther, you're making the big difference. 40 goals, 33 assists for 73 points here. Jamie Drysdale, you've been great. Marty Natchez, you've been alright. For a 90 overall, okay, you're actually an 88 overall, but for an 88 overall, 67 points isn't good enough here. Casey Millstat, you had a great season. Nora Grin, you're looking alright. Joe Aginla, only 14 goals. I'm not gonna lie, I'm expecting more. But you know what? I'm gonna take it. This team's in the postseason. The goaltending is looking great from Devin Levi. All we have to do is show up here. We have the Arizona Coyotes in the first round, because in this universe, the Arizona Coyotes are still around. They're not the Utah Hockey Club. We're taking them on in the first round. The Everett Elks are actually the 2nd seed because Minnesota's ahead of them in the standings. So you know what? We're gonna have some tough matchups. So the Everett Elks have been able to win some games during the postseason, but we haven't won enough yet. We split the series 2 games apiece. Game 5 is gonna be a disappointing loss for us. We're off to Game 6 elimination. So it's been a mix of a couple things so far in the postseason. The goaltending just hasn't been good enough. Meanwhile, the offense hasn't been good enough, but that's finally waking up here. We're scoring a ton of goals. Yeah, we're forcing Game 7. 6 goals is gonna be more than enough. So here we go. Game 7. Winners off to the 2nd round here. We gotta show up when it matters most, and of course we are not gonna do that. Okay, are we just gonna get blown out in this game? Yes, we are. 4-0. We used up all of our goals in game number 6, and we're losing in Game 7. That's a tough look. Now, although we did lose in the first round here, there's one thing that we can celebrate. The St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup here, but the one thing I have to look at is how many games St. Louis won this season. Like, that team finished as a wild card team, a 43, 31, and 8 record, and they won the Stanley Cup. You know what? I gotta respect the grind there. Jordan Binnington was standing on his head, and Robert Thomas is leading the way. Now, I'm low-key hoping that we just got ourselves a steal in the first round, a low-bleed potential defensive defenseman with the 27th overall pick. He's starting as a 65 overall, so he should be able to develop, but honestly, you never know with these low-lead potential players. But who cares about the low league potential when you get a medium league potential gem later in the draft with a 102nd overall pick, a medium league potential goaltender. Yeah, he's only a 48 overall, and yeah, we've brought in gem goaltenders before and they haven't worked out for us, but this guy's going to be different. And it turns out we're going to keep on getting great prospects later in the draft with 159th overall, another low league potential player. Unfortunately though, this guy isn't a gem. So one of these low league potential players we drafted a while ago has had some amazing progression. He's up to a 75 overall already, and we're just giving him his entry level contract. So ideally, he's going to be jumping into the lineup for us, playing some 4th line minutes. And then when it comes to everyone else here, I think we're going to be letting them walk. This guy right here is looking for a one-way contract as a 69 overall. That's not happening. This guy right here is 26 years old. And he's only a 78 overall. Doesn't really have too much time to develop. This guy only has 70 potential. Don't really care too much about him. This medium-league potential goaltender who's up to a 72 overall at 20 years old, yeah, I'll give him his entry-level contract. So I don't want to spend any money in free agency until I know I have all these guys locked down. We're going to start with Dylan Guenther here. He's looking for 8.5 for the next 4 years. We can do a contract pretty similar to that. How about we do 7.6 for the next 4? That'll keep you around till you're 31 years old, and then at that point we'll probably let you walk. Muzzin, you've been a great defenseman for us. How much are you looking for? 6.6 million though? That's a bit expensive. And I'm actually not even sure if we can give you that contract because you only have $12 million in cap space. We just gave 7 to Dylan Guenther, so we only have 5 remaining. That's not going to work here. Then we have this defenseman right here. Oh, this guy's a forward. Never mind. Muzzin's not a defenseman. This guy's our defenseman, and he wants 6.9 million. Yeah, we're going to have to make some difficult decisions. And then we have this medium league potential player who's a 73 overall, so yeah, I'll give him his entry level contract. Okay, so I have one major complaint right now. I want to bring a defensive defenseman to the team. Carlo, you're 33 years old. You're going to start regressing, so we should trade you away here. Why is every single defensive defenseman a left defenseman? There is literally no right defenseman until we get all the way down here. It's 33-year-old Borgren, 35-year-old Pesci. Like, there's no good young defensive defensemen that play on the right side. That's why we're going to struggle. We cannot find any good defensive defensemen that play on the right side. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but you know what? I would like some more defensive defensemen on this team. I have said defensive defensemen way too much here. Let's bring in a two-way defender. So Carlo, I'm gonna have to trade you away here. I don't want to pay you 6.6 million. Josh Roy, for a fourth line guy, I feel like you're getting paid too much. So I'm gonna send both these players over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And ideally, we can get David Jiricek here and then re-sign David Jiricek for a pretty cheap price. Meanwhile, with that other elite defenseman we have, we're probably just gonna end up trading him away because I can't afford to have a third pairing defenseman making $7 million. So a third round pick's gonna make the difference here. I guess not. They want a 7th rounder. So here's a 7th rounder for 2031. This is gonna be more more than enough to get this deal done. Okay, you guys are bugging. 2 7th rounders then. I'm going to give you 2 7th rounders because why would you accept this deal otherwise? There we go. We got done. Now, David Jiricek, please sign a reasonable contract. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this contract right here, but you know what? Never mind. I actually am a big fan of it. We're going to do 8 years at like 5.5 million. 5.6 million for the next 8 for David Jiricek, an absolute steal. And then with this medium elite potential defenseman right here, we're just going to trade him away. And we might even trade Muzzin away here. So I'm doing math in my head here, and I don't even know if we're going to have enough money, but we're going to try to. Muzzin, I'll give you a 4-year extension at $6 million. That's going to keep you around here. This medium elite potential player will keep on the team, and then we'll qualify him as RFA next season, trade him away. This defenseman, we're probably just going to ride out his contract. But Holtz, you're going to have to get traded away because I have to clear up that 2.7 million. So I'm having to give up way too many assets in this deal, but we have to do it. Holtz, 2 3rd-rounders in a second, are going to be sent over to the LA Kings. Valen's going to be acquired 82 overall. Tucker's also going to be acquired 82 overall. They're going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. Are we really having to give up this many assets? Like, this is absurd. Instead of these 2 3rd-rounders, I'll give up a 2nd-rounder, but even that I don't think is going to be enough. I'm going to send that over. They probably want both 3rd-rounders. So here's the St. Louis Blues 3rd-round pick, and hopefully that's going to be accepted. Yes, it is. We have enough money for one big free agent signing, so that's what we're going to do. When it comes to Tucker, I can't give him a multi-year deal, so it's only going to be a 1-year deal at 1.8 million. Barring what he does after this season, we might consider bringing him back. So last time Trent Frederick was in free agency, he saw a massive deal for us, a 3x3. He's back in free agency here, so what are we going to do? We're bringing him back to the team on a 1-year contract at 4.8 million. I need you for the bottom 6. So last season, this team finished 3rd in the entire league, but this season you can make the argument we're better because we are better. Murray Natchez 88 overall, Dylan Gunther 87, Norgren's up to a 90, Joe Ginla 86 overall, Casey Milstead an 85, while Jim Muzzin, he's up to an 85. The bottom 6 is looking great with some amazing boosts. +2 on the 4th line, +1 on the 3rd line. Looking at the defense, of course, we have that +5 on the top pairing, but that second pairing, we're going to see a +1. We're ignoring the -1 boost. It doesn't matter. This team's going to be in a great spot. And look at this goaltending tandem. 88 overall Devin Levi, 83 overall Langkow. 2 guys that we can definitely rely on. We saw what they did last season. I'm expecting them to be even better this season. We're finishing 1st in the entire league. We're going for a Stanley Cup. It's time to certify ourselves as one of the best in the league. Okay, I got a rant about this team. I don't know what it is, but we just don't win games. This team refuses to win games. A 16-20-3 record. I thought eventually we were going to turn it around here. I've had tons of teams start the season out very poor. I've had teams start 1-8 and then still finish at the top of the league. But this team right here just refuses to turn it around. The Everett Elks are currently one of the worst teams in the entire league. A 16-20-3 record. I don't really know what the issue is here. I mean, just looking at these numbers, it's actually pretty clear what the issue is. We don't know how to stop the puck. 3.95. That's our defense. We are allowing 3.95 goals per game. The only difference between this season and last season is Brandon Carlos not here, and we brought in David Jiricek. David Jiricek, he's still a great defenseman. I don't know what it is. We have an elite defensive defenseman here that's even picking up points. Bro has 24 points as a defensive defenseman. Jamie Drysdale decided I'm not scoring points this year, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, only 39 games and he's got 24 points. That's not bad. But what changed with this team? Why are we all of a sudden just awful? Both of our goaltenders terrible. Devin Levi, what were your numbers last season? Like, you were incredible last season. A 911 and a 278. Okay, maybe these aren't incredible, but look at last season compared to this season. How do you have this much of a fall off with the same team? Like, I think we have to call this season a wash. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe we can fire the coach, bring somebody else in, he'll spark something, but there's no reason this team right here should be this bad. Like, we have an A+ coach. What's this team fit? Like, I feel like it's not bad. 69%. You have a 69% team fit. A+. You are an amazing coach in every single aspect. Maybe I'll fire the assistant coach. He's a C overall. We'll bring in somebody else that can hopefully save this team. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take here. Now, you probably expect me to lose my mind here, but I've accepted that this team sucks. But you know what I haven't accepted? The fact that this game makes 0 sense. Here we are 11th in the entire league, a 45-32-5 record. We fired our assistant coach, brought in a new coach, and here we are 11th in the entire league. I can't even explain what happened. Like, after the trade deadline, this team only lost 5 games. Like, we were incredible. Dylan Gunther, 50 goals, 34 assists, 84 points here. Almost everyone on this team had a positive plus-minus. Jamie Drysdale, you completely turned it around here. Everyone was good. I don't know what happened, but here we are, one of the best teams in the entire league. I don't care about the goaltending numbers. I really don't, because we saw what those looked like halfway through the season. There's no way they were going to look good at any point. Like, I think at one point, Devin Levi had an 880 save percentage, and he got that all the way up to a 900 save percentage. So he's actually been really good since that halfway point where I went on a bit of a rant. But you know what? This team has to show up when it matters most. We have the Minnesota Wild in the first round. Minnesota's going to be a great team. But you know what? Since the trade deadline, the Everett Elks have actually been one of the best teams in the entire league. So if you're going to be taking us on, you better be prepared. Yeah, so unfortunately the game glitched here. I couldn't tell you what happened. The Minnesota Wild put up a solid fight against us, but you know what? We were able to take them down. We actually made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, absolutely destroyed everyone. We went 16-0 in the postseason, the first time ever we've gone 16-0. Ignore the team leader, like obviously that's a glitch. We played more than 4 games, of course. Definitely didn't get swept in the Minnesota Wild, and definitely didn't allow 9 goals in game number 2. Nope, this team showed up. They compete with the best in the entire league, and we certified ourselves as one of the greatest of all time. That is definitely what happened. Definitely didn't get swept. So on top of whatever happened in the playoffs, we're moving on to the draft, but that's even more forgettable. The best player we got, bottom 6 potential. Wasn't even a gem either. So we're moving on to the re-sign phase, and when it comes to our medium league potential defenseman, no surprise, we're just qualifying him as an RFA. We can't afford to keep him on this team. I just can't be paying third pairing left defenseman $7 million. When it comes to Tucker, I mean, we could bring him back on a multi-year deal. What's he looking for? $2.3 million. I think that will actually work. How about we do $2.1 million? Actually, let's just make that around $2 million for the next 2 years. And then Trent Frederick, we're just going to let you walk. So Marty Necas has 1 more year under contract, and he's looking for an extension right now. The only issue, he's looking for like $11 million. I feel like if we trade for Matt Poitras, we can get him for less than $11 million. And we can also get Reichel in this deal, and he'll play some good minutes for us next season on the right side when it comes to the defense. I'm going to try to make this trade. They're going to say no. We can throw a couple assets in the deal. I don't want to give up too much, though. So maybe a second round pick is going to be enough to get this deal done. I'm going to send that over. Boston saying yes. That's a big time deal for us. Now, all we have to do is pray that Matt Poitras is willing to sign a reasonable deal. Now, this is exactly why I trade for Matt Poitras. We're going to be keeping him around here. It's going to be $8.3 million for the next 6 seasons. Compared to the $11 million we're going to be paying Marty Necas, considering he's 5 years older, this is the best thing that could have happened. Okay, so the LA Kings have this player right here. He just finished his first season in the NHL. He's still in his entry-level contract for the next 2 years. We know for a fact we're not bringing this medium league potential player back right here, so I'm going to trade him in a 3rd round pick, and I just want to see if we can get this medium league potential player from the Kings. They're going to say no to that deal. What if I give you a 4th rounder as well? Now, I don't want to show you this player yet until we get the deal done, because this man is something else. So medium league potential player, a 3rd and 2 4th round picks over to the LA Kings. They're saying that's a bit low. Okay, this is actually just unfair. I'm going to include a 7th round pick in this deal, and we're going to get it done. So I'm going to trade a 85 overall medium league potential player, a 3rd round pick, 2 4ths, and a 7th in order to get this guy from the LA Kings. Now I want to show you this guy. He just finished his rookie season, so he's played 1 season in the NHL. What overall is he? Oh, he's an 89. He's an 89 overall after 1 season, 3 X factors, 39 goals, 23 assists in his rookie season. This man is a superstar, and we just got him for a defenseman that we couldn't afford and a couple draft picks. We take those. So look at all the guys here asking for like $5-6 million. Like the top guys, I get it. Owen Power, you're an 86 overall. Yeah, you want your $6 million. But an 81 overall is asking for $4 million. And then this 81 overall is asking for $6.4 million. Bro, what are we doing here? So I'm just going to scroll down until I can find somebody cheap. This guy right here, absolutely, I might do an 8-year deal with you. Like, how long can I sign you for? I'll do 5 years. That's actually a lie, because 5 years would keep him until he's 34 years old, and I don't really want to do that. But I can definitely do $1.4 million for the next 3 years. I'll give you a bit more than what you're asking for. Actually, I'll just do $1.3 million for the next 3. You might only be a 79 overall, but if you're playing 3rd pairing minutes, who really cares? I guess it wouldn't hurt if I checked if you failed in the 3rd pairing. Doesn't look like you do. Alright, I don't know what I'm cooking up here. So this team struggled a lot last season. Like in the first 40 games, we were absolutely terrible. But you know what? You cannot convince me this team right here is going to be bad. Look at the 3rd line. 89 overall, medium league potential. 80 overall, medium league potential. Josh Stone, top 6 potential, 83 overall. He's going to be a great playmaker for these 2 guys right here. There is 0 weaknesses on the forward core. There is 0 weaknesses on the defensive core. There is 0 weaknesses in between the pipes. So what could potentially hold us back here? I couldn't tell you. This team has 0 weaknesses. Just show up when it matters. So I just want to point out our record before I simulate the rest of the season here. 4-11-2 to start. We've been the worst defensive team in the league by far. No question about it. 4 goals allowed here, 7 allowed here, 6 allowed here. Let's see how the rest of the season pans out. I'm not making any trades. We're rocking with the team we have here. I just don't get it. So how did the Everett Elks do this season? Pretty good. 7th in the entire league, a 48-29-9 record. I don't understand this game anymore. This game makes absolutely no sense. How do we just not show up for the first 20 games? Take out the first 20 games, we're the best team in the entire league, no question about it. But the only problem is when you look at our goaltending numbers, they're going to be incredibly skewed. Like, these are not good goaltending numbers, but what they look like through the first 20 games. Like in a 3-game span, 9 goals were allowed and 6 goals were allowed. We just didn't play defense in the first couple games of the season, but here we are, one of the best teams in the entire league. I just don't understand it. I really don't. And what makes it even more ridiculous is what's going to happen in the postseason here. Even though we've been one of the best teams in the past 60 games, you can make the argument in the past 60 games of the season, we have been the best NHL team, no doubt about it. We are somehow going to get absolutely smoked in the playoffs. We're taking on the St. Louis Blues. We're probably not even going to win a game here. But it kind of makes sense. The most infuriating franchise I've rebuilt so far is the Everett Elks. It only makes sense. Alright, we're down 3-1 in the series. At least we won one game. Like, you have to admit, it's so incredibly ironic that the Everett Elks of all teams are going to give us the most work. Like, how can we just not win with this team right here? Luckily, we're going to be scoring some big goals in the third period, and we're going to be forcing Game 7. What am I talking about, Game 7? This was Game 5. We have to win Game 6 and Game 7. So here we go, Game number 5, because we were down 3-1 in the series against the St. Louis Blues. Kane Lindstrom and Zach Jones, I'm assuming, are picking up the first 2 goals. No clue if it was Zach Jones. Alright, this guy is built different. He picked up a hat trick during the second period. What's going to happen in the third period? Yes, we're just going to keep on scoring goals. We scored 8 goals in the last 2 periods. So you know what that means? We're getting shut out in game number 7. So who's ready for the game 7 shutout? I certainly am. What's going to be happening in the first period? Okay, this man is built different. We should have traded for this man a long time ago. Back-to-back hat tricks and back-to-back games here. I might move him up to the first line. Like, bro really has 9 goals in 7 games, 12 points in 7 games. He's built different. He's the best player on this team, and we just picked him up, and he's playing third line minutes. It just doesn't make sense half the time. So we moved on to the second round after making a 3-1 series comeback. Everett, no messing around. Just win the first 4 games. Sweep the Minnesota Wild. Don't put yourself in a 3-1 deficit once again. Okay, we had a 3-0 series lead, and then we dropped game 4. Whatever you do, do not blow a 3-0 series lead. We are not losing 4 straight games here. The Everett Elks are here. This team has finally figured it out after years of disappointment. We got to keep the momentum going. We're not stopping here. The Anaheim Ducks are up next. Let's keep on simulating games. I don't care what happens from here on out as long as we win a Stanley Cup. We're dropping game number 1. In game number 2, we're going to respond, winning 3 straight big games after that. Close out in game 4 here. We're not blowing a 3-0 series lead. Everett closes out in game 5 here. Here we are, the Stanley Cup final. The Everett Elks have finally made it here after years of disappointment. After starting the season with a 4-15-2 record, whatever it was, we made it to the Stanley Cup final to take on the Ottawa Senators. How is this team taking on the Ottawa Senators of all teams? I have no clue, but here we are. We dropped the first game, and then we're not looking good after that. Okay, this team is cooked. So we've been able to make a 3-1 series comeback before. Now we have to do it again here. Jamie Drysdale is going to start the game off with a goal. We're going to have 3 straight goals scored here. We have a 3-1 lead entering the third period. We should be all right here, and this team keeps on scoring. So we won game number 5, and all we have to do is win game number 6 here. We have a lot of great goal scorers on this team, so we just have to keep on scoring goals. We have a 1-goal lead entering the third period. Play great defense, score some more goals, and we'll be all right here. Harper's picking up a big-time goal in the third period. Game 7 for the Stanley Cup. The Everett Elks making a 3-1 series comeback. We're doing the impossible. After having one of the worst starts in franchise history, the Everett Elks have made it here. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period. Thomas Chabot's going to pick up 1 for the Ottawa Senators, but hold on, wait a minute. We're falling apart in the second period here. We're going to be allowing 2 goals, but this team's going to score. This team has scored multiple goals in the third period, and we're about to do it again here. We lost. We lost this game. I don't really know what to say here. The Everett Elks in a critical game 7, the offense dried up. It just disappeared here, and we were unable to score. Losing in game 7, we were about to complete a 3-1 series comeback. This is just heartbreaking. It really brings a tear to my eye. Like, the Everett Elks were 1 game away from winning a Stanley Cup after one of the worst starts in franchise history. Vladimir, he's picking up 26 points here, 16 goals, 10 assists. He was the man for us. Casey Milstead, 22 points. Jamie Drysdale, 22 points. Dylan Gunther, 21. The scoring was elite here. What did the goaltending look like? It was amazing as well. Devin Levi, 15 wins, 1 shot, a 921, a 253. This breaks my heart. It really does. This team was set for a Stanley Cup, but we just couldn't get one. But you know what? I think with a season like this, we certified ourselves as one of the best in the entire league. The only question I have about this team is, can we show up in the first 20 games of the season? If this team would just show up in the first 20 games, we probably would finish with 65 wins. But this team just refuses to show up in the first 20 games, and until that changes, I don't think we're going to see a Stanley Cup. We're just not going to have enough momentum heading into the playoffs. But then again, look what happened here. I guess anything's possible. Now, we really don't have that many picks in the draft, so I might as well just highlight something like this, a medium top 4 potential defenseman. I don't think we're going to get anything better than this, if I'm being honest. So we have some guys that need extensions. Valen, you need one, and what could you possibly be looking for as a third line guy? 6.3 million. You already know what that means. Qualified as an RFA. Reichel, what are you going to be looking for? Qualified as an RFA. We can't afford you. I mean, technically we can, but I'm not giving an 80 overall $3.4 million. That's just not happening. And that's literally all that's happening in the re-sign phase. Nothing else is changing. Alright, so let's check in on our superstar that just performed amazing during the postseason. There's no way this man dropped an overall. Oh, it looks like he has. He's dropped down to an 87. How does that make any sense? I have no clue. And what's he looking for when it comes to a contract extension? 8.6 million. Do we keep you on this team? This is a tough decision because you were amazing for us, no question about it. And you can play on either the second or the first line, but we already have players there. Like, we already have Dylan Gunther on the top line. We already got Muzzin here, and we're paying him a really cheap price, $6 million for how many more seasons? 3 more years. So do I want to commit a bunch of money to this guy right here and then trade Muzzin away or something? I mean, that could be the move because we could lock this guy down for the next 8 years at 8.2 million. Trade Muzzin away, it's only a $2 million difference, and this guy would be a lot better. That's what we're doing. We're going to lock down Vladimir, 8.3 million for the next 8 years here, and then Muzzin, we're going to trade you away, and then Vladimir's going to jump into the top 6. Alright, so this is the move we're going to pull off here. Muzzin, we're going to trade you away. As I said, we're going to have Vladimir jump to the top 6 here, and you actually have a lot of trade value. So I'm going to send you over to the Philadelphia Flyers. I want Emilio Long here. He's going to be our playmaker. He's going to play on the second line because that's where he fits, but we're also going to get this other medium league potential player, 82 overall. He was just selected 3rd overall. He's going to be a good player for us, so I think we can get both of these guys in this deal. They're going to be saying no, but a couple draft picks will make the difference. I mean, I'm talking about draft picks making the difference. How about I just trade one of these goaltenders that have medium league potential? I'll ship this guy out, and we're going to get this deal done. So we need another defenseman here. Jet Wu, you're going to be the guy for us. 1.2 million for the next 3 years. A really cheap contract for you. We just need somebody to play on the third pairing. So this team showed all the potential in the world last season, making it all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Unfortunately, we couldn't take it home. This team, though, I believe is better. We have a lot of guys who improved over the offseason. Long is going to be jumping into the lineup, 84 overall. He's got medium league potential. He'll probably be up to an 86 by the end of the season. The third line's looking great. The fourth line's looking great here. We got great line chemistry, but this is something we haven't had in a long time. Look at that third line. It's not +1, but it's not -1. That's the big thing. We have 278 overalls here. They're going to hold it down. Our other defensemen are great here. When it comes to goaltending, Devin Levi, you were incredible last season. You were able to carry the way all the way to the Stanley Cup final for us. Now you just have to do it again here. We have a better team in front of you. Just don't suck in the first 20 games. If this team doesn't suck in the first 20 games, we're going to be first in the entire league. So the most amazing thing happened this season. This team wasn't awful in the first 20 games, and because of that, a 58-19-5 record, the best in the entire league. The Everett Elks are certifying themselves as the best in the entire league. Now all we have to do is win a Stanley Cup. Like, if we can win a Stanley Cup here, we've proved that we can compete. Okay, Vladimir, you're the best player that I've ever signed on this team. 88 overall, medium league potential, 53 goals here. That was the best signing I could have made. I mean, I guess it wasn't a signing, it was more of a trade. But hold on, look at Chris Tucker down here. 30 goals, 12 assists, 42 points. This team knew how to score goals this season. One thing that we haven't been able to do in the past. And then when it comes to goaltending, both these guys have been incredible so far. 83 overall backup, and then 87 overall Devin Levi. He was great this season. A 915, a 249. Stepped up in the postseason and will easily be bringing home a Stanley Cup. Like, it's amazing to see this team actually competing. For the longest time, I stopped believing, but here we are, the best in the entire league. The Dallas Stars in the first round. It's time for Everett to get their first ever Stanley Cup. Okay, we finished first in the entire league with the idea of winning a Stanley Cup, not losing in the first round here, boys. What are we doing? What are we actually doing here? We're off to Game 6 elimination. I'm sorry, but when the Everett Elks finished first in the entire league, I'm expecting them to get out of the first round here. We're going to be allowing 2 goals in the first period. In the second, what's going to be happening? Vladimir's going to be stepping up. He's picking up some big time goals for us, but is that going to be enough? No, it isn't. We're choking in the third period. What's going to happen in overtime here? Joe Aginla, you saved the day. So here we go. It's Game 7. Winners off to the second round here. It should be the Everett Elks, but why would this team ever show up? We're trailing entering the third period. Vladimir just pick up a hat trick in the third period and we'll be moving on. That really didn't just happen. When the Everett Elks finally finished first in the entire league, this team finds a way to choke. Vladimir, I think you were the only good player on this team. You had 8 points in 7 games here, including 5 goals. When it came to Long, he picked up 6 assists, but I mean, he's a playmaker. He's literally here to pass the puck. Dylan Gunther, 5 points, only 3 goals. Joe Aginla, you picked up 1 goal the entire postseason. I mean, it was an overtime winner, but it still wasn't good enough for me. The goaltending numbers, I know they look horrible. We just completed year 10. We were supposed to certify ourselves as one of the best teams in the entire league. Technically, we did that by finishing first overall, but then we immediately lost in the first round. So can you really consider the Everett Elks one of the best in the entire league? I'm not too sure. But from here on out, we have 5 more years left in the rebuild, and that's when we have to certify ourselves as a dynasty. I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to do that. Also, shout out to the Minnesota Wild, Stanley Cup champions, but I don't care about that. This really should be the Everett Elks. The Everett Elks should be Stanley Cup champions, but this team just choked when it mattered most. So as we know, I'm allowed to make 3 moves per season, and we're going to be making our first one in the draft here. The 29th overall pick sent over to the New Jersey Devils, and we're picking up 2 third-round picks. Now, New Jersey, they're thinking this is a sweet trade on their end. They're getting an absolute steal. Yeah, about that trade. Because who are we going to be selecting with the 68th overall pick? Well, this medium elite potential right winger right here. So I definitely think it was worth trading our first round pick. Moving on to the 70th overall pick, who are we going to be selecting? Well, this goaltender right here who might have medium elite potential, and he does have medium elite potential. So we turned the 29th overall pick into a medium elite potential goaltender and a medium elite potential right winger. That was definitely worth making the trade. But hold on, let me keep on cooking here with 161st overall, another medium elite potential goaltender. Can we finish this draft off with only medium elite potential players? I highly doubt it because we're in the 6th round now, but a man can pray. So Tucker, I wouldn't mind bringing you back here, but you're looking for 3.9 million. You're a bottom 6 player for us. I just can't do that. And then when it comes to all these other RFAs, we're just going to qualify them. And then with this medium elite potential goaltender right here, yeah, I think we should try to sign him long term. And then we have this medium elite potential goaltender right here. We can do 1.3 million. Unless what does an 8-year deal look like? Never mind. We're just going to do 2 years at 1.3 million. All right, so Long's going to be one of our key players in the future, so I got to make sure he's locked down long term. We're going to do 7.7 with him for the next 8 years. That's going to keep him around for the rest of the rebuild. Bro's going to be a superstar on this team. Heineman, he's also looking for an extension here. What's he going to be looking for? 2.8 million. We can absolutely do that. We'll do a 3-year deal at 2.8. Now, more than likely, those are going to be the only extensions because those are really the only guys we can afford here. Harper, you're going to get traded. Valen, you're about to get traded here. And Reichel, you're going to get traded. So instead of Cutler, we're going to move over to the Calgary Flames and we're going to do this deal right here. They're really saying no to this deal. Like, we're offering you more than enough and you still don't want to say yes. So here's the 3rd round pick as well. I'm not giving up more than this. Yes, I am. I'm giving up a 2nd and 3rd round pick. I mean, I'll try just the 2nd rounder first because that might be enough. They're going to say no to that. I'm not giving up a 1st round pick though. I mean, more than likely, I'm going to go back on my word and give up my 1st round pick, but we're not going to talk about that. All right, time to give up the 1st round pick. Here's our 1st round pick for 2034. You better say yes to this deal. You are absolutely bugging. Like, this is actually beyond ridiculous. Here's a 3rd round pick as well. Please say yes. Okay, so Stick on the Ice doesn't make smart decisions around here. Lindback, welcome to the team. I had to include a 7th round pick because why would they say yes without a 7th round pick involved? So I didn't even make all 3 moves during the offseason because why would I? Matt Poitras 89 overall, Dylan Gunther 90, Norgren 92, Joe Ginla 88, Long's up to an 84. We have Vladimir up to an 89. The bottom 6 is looking fantastic here. The defense looks great. We even have an 80 overall 21-year-old jumping onto the 3rd pairing. And then when it comes to the goaltending, I've never seen a tandem this great. 88 overall Devin Levi, 89 overall Rich Ritchie. Yeah, this guy's going to carry the way for us. He's going to be the number 1 goaltender here. But the fact that we have a tandem of an 89 and an 88 tells you a lot about this team. There is no reason we should struggle by any means. We have 2 amazing goaltenders. We have amazing defense. We have an amazing forward core. What's going to hold us back though? Ourselves. We are going to somehow be a massive disappointment. We're going to lose 15 of the first 20 games, somehow get into the playoffs, and then what's going to happen in the 1st round? We're going to get swept. I've seen it time and time again, but this time it's different. We're building the dynasty here. Don't choke. So for the 2nd year in a row, we're going to see the Everett Elks at the top of the league first with a 55-21-6 record. Last time we finished first, we're not going to talk about what happened. Norgren, he was great, 94 points here. Gunther was great as well, 86. Matt Poitras, 82. The entire first line was above a point a game. And then when it comes to every line outside of our top line, everyone here performed. Everyone produced as they should. You know what? I can't complain about what anyone did here. And then when it comes to goaltending, Rich Ritchie, 41 wins, 7 shots, a 916 at 249 his rookie season. This man is 24 years old, is an 89 overall, and this is what he did in his rookie season. So yeah, the plan is to keep him long term. Maybe I should have signed him to an 8-year deal. You know what? I'm not going to regret that decision. We have the Chicago Blackhawks in the 1st round here. Rich Ritchie, what really matters is how you perform in the playoffs. You had some great regular season numbers, but that means absolutely nothing if you fold here. I need a historic performance from you. So Rich Ritchie, I don't care what your goaltending numbers are looking like. If we're going to score goals like this, 4 in game number 1, 8 in game number 2, 5 in game number 3, and then 4 again in game number 4. If we continue to light the lamp like this, you can allow 3 goals a game. So after a clean sweep against the Chicago Blackhawks, we're moving to the 2nd round here. We're going to be taking on the Minnesota Wild. As long as we just keep performing like we did against Chicago, we'll be alright. Now I said, if you guys perform like you did against the Chicago Blackhawks, we'll be alright. You guys proceed to do the exact opposite. We're down 3-1. At one point we were down 3-0, but luckily we won game 4. We have to make a 3-0 series comeback here. So here we go. It's game number 5. The Everett Elks have to win 4 straight games here. What are we doing? Like, what are we really doing here? Swept to the Minnesota Wild. Year 11 is now complete. The Everett Elks have made it to 1 Stanley Cup final in which we lost, but we're supposed to be winning multiple Stanley Cups here. We're supposed to prove that we're one of the greatest franchises of all time, and yet we can't see any success in the postseason. 4-0 in game number 5. We didn't even score. Like, we have one of the best offenses and best defenses during the regular season. Then the postseason comes around. Vladimir, you continue to be that guy. Matt Poitras, you weren't bad. Even this guy right here, he's playing 3rd line minutes. He picked up 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. Everyone else on this team just completely vanished. Long, you picked up 2 points here. Like, bro, what are you doing? You're playing second line minutes and you're picking up 2 points. That's just not good enough. And then when it comes to goaltending, Richie, honestly, you weren't even that bad. 5 wins here, a 904 and a 279. Considering what happened in the second round here, I would have thought these numbers would be way worse. But you know what? You held up your end of the bargain. We just didn't step up in front of you. So we have 4 more years to win a Stanley Cup with the Everett Elks here. We should probably have 2 or 3 Stanley Cups by now, but this game just does not want me to succeed. We lost to the Minnesota Wild, who are going to lose to the Edmonton Oilers, who are going to lose to the Washington Capitals. So it's not even like I can say we were close to winning a Stanley Cup. We were a long ways away. Now, it had been a pretty quiet draft up until this point, where we're finally getting ourselves a good prospect with the 161st overall pick, a medium-elite potential goaltender. So it turns out that goaltender is not going to be the only great prospect we're getting. We're getting this offensive defenseman right here, low elite potential, but he's also a gem, so he's going to develop into a star for us. But it turns out we're not done cooking in the draft. In the 7th round with the 227th overall pick, a low elite potential offensive defenseman. Maybe this guy's going to turn to a star as well. So unless we're able to sign these guys on reasonable contracts, I don't think they're going to be coming back. Josh Stone, we're not going to be able to do that. Reichel, I know you're looking for a bag. I know this defenseman's going to be looking for a bag. Now, what's he actually looking for? Let's be honest. $2 million isn't the end of the world, but I think we can find a cheaper option available, and we'll also get somebody a bit younger. So when it comes to the signs we're actually going to do here, we're either giving out entry-level contracts, or we're going to sign some guys to some two-way contracts. Okay, now I'm going to take a massive risk on this defenseman right here. I'm going to give him $1.3 million for the next 8 years. He's a 75 overall, medium top 4 potential. We're going to pray he can get up to like a 78 overall, and then he should be able to jump to the lineup. So things are about to get very difficult for us. We have some big-time players wanting extensions here. We're going to start with our defensive defenseman. Okay, this isn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. I was thinking this guy was going to be asking for $17 million. Instead, we're going to lock him down $11.9 million for the next 8. Jamie Drysdale, I can only assume you're going to want a bag here. $13 million, I think we're going to trade you away. Dylan Gunther, what are you going to be looking for? $13 million. I think we're going to have to trade you as well. Cameron, you're a pretty good player for us on the bottom 6, but I can't give you $4.2 million. Connor Geeky, we're going to ride out your contract. This player, we're probably going to ride out their contract as well. They're looking for $6 million. We just can't afford everyone. So a handful of years ago, we traded Muzzin away when his trade value was at its highest, and now I think it's time we bring him back to the team. Like, he's still a fairly young player, 24 years old, has 5 X factors, 86 overall. We already know he can fit on the second line, so we're going to bring him back here. And then Vladimir, you're going to move up to the top line. Dylan Gunther, we're going to trade you away here because I'm pretty sure I can sign Muzzin for less than $13 million. We're going to get Muzzin and 2 second-round picks here. They're going to be saying no to that. Can I at least get 1 second-rounder? Are we really going to have to go 1 for 1 here? I mean, going 1 for 1 isn't the end of the world, but going 1 for 1 after including 7th round picks is a bit wild. And you know what? We're not even giving up a 7th round pick. We're going to give up a 6th rounder in this deal. Now, Muzzin, please be reasonable. So I'm happy to say Muzzin is going to be coming back at a much cheaper price. It's going to be 8.3 for the next 3 years. So that's definitely better than the $13 million that we would have had to pay Dylan Gunther. So Axel Sedin Pellikka, you're under contract for the next 3 years at $10.2 million. We could acquire you and you'd be a great defenseman for us. Jamie Drysdale, as we know, you're looking for $13 million, and I don't really want to do that. So we're going to see if we can trade Jamie Drysdale for those 2 guys right there. Obviously, I'm not really surprised that didn't go through, but if I include a second rounder, would you be interested? Like, I feel like a second rounder shouldn't make the difference in a deal like this. They can be saying no, but they just want a 7th round pick. So a 7th round pick is going to make the difference in a deal like this. Now we're going to make one more move. But after taking a quick look at our team, we actually don't have to make any more moves here, so we're just going to roll with the team we have. So we're down to our final 4 years. We all know what's on the line here. We all know what this team's going to do during the regular season. They're going to win a ton of games, and then what's going to happen in the postseason? We're going to completely fall apart. It happens time and time again. We have a goaltending tandem of a 90 overall and an 88 overall. We have 2 of the best goaltenders in the league right now, and for some reason, this goaltending tandem right here, 1st round exit. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, granted, there's only 1 net for these goaltenders to play, so they have to split starts, but that really doesn't matter. We score a ton of goals. This team is known for scoring goals, and we're known for keeping the puck out of the net. But when the postseason comes around, that's not really the case. So for once, all I'm asking, Everett, is don't screw this up. You have been given every opportunity to win a Stanley Cup, and you always screwed up. Don't do that this season. Alright, so Everett, you've dropped 2nd in the entire league. There is no excuse for this. There is no reason we shouldn't be 1st in the entire league. Norgren, you're going to be leading the team with 88 points. Poitras, 75. Axel Sedin Pellikka, you were a great pickup, 70 points here. Vladimir, you're only picking up 34 goals, so that's a bit concerning. This guy right here, 37 goals, and he's the 3rd line player for us, so you love to see it. Richie, you're picking up 38 wins this season, 3 shots, a 909 and 263. Not as good as last season, but hey, we're winning games here, so as long as we win the postseason, that's all that matters. But as I just said, we're winning games here, but only if we win the postseason does it matter. We have the Seattle Kraken in the 1st round. Win when it matters. Do not lose in the 1st round. Don't lose in the 2nd round. Don't lose in the conference finals. Win the Stanley Cup. Win 16 games. That's all I'm asking. Okay, so we won the first 3 games here, but that means means nothing unless we win 4 games, because 4 games means you win the series. We lost game number 4, but luckily we're winning game number 5 here, so we're not going to be choking. So we got by the Seattle Kraken in 5 games, but that means nothing. We're taking on the St. Louis Blues, and at least that's not the Minnesota Wild. But who did St. Louis beat in the first round? The Minnesota Wild. So that means St. Louis is better than Minnesota, and Minnesota's had our numbers so far in this video. We're about to change that though. We're going to beat St. Louis, then we're beating either Dallas or Calgary. That's going to put us in the Stanley Cup final, and then we're going to beat one of the remaining teams. Alright, so we split the series so far with the St. Louis Blues, and that's not a great sign. If we lose game 5 here, I'm just giving up with this team. Why does this happen every time? Like, every time this team just seems to lose game 5 and put ourselves in a terrible position. And then what does Vladimir do? He scores goals. He's picking up 2 goals in this game, so we're taking it away. We're off to game 7. Alright, Vladimir, I need you picking up at least 7 goals in this game if we want to beat the St. Louis Blues. We're exchanging goals in the second period. This is not a great sign. What's going to happen here in the third period? I think we won this game. Shout out to the boys. They're scoring goals here. We're off to the conference finals. So we've made to the conference finals. We haven't been here that many times. We're taking on a wild card team in the Dallas Stars. Over in the Eastern Conference, it's the wild card Boston Bruins and the wild card Florida Panthers. If we don't win this season, then I just completely give up with this franchise. We are being gifted a Stanley Cup right now. It's wild card teams from here on out. We're going to be sweeping the Dallas Stars. Never mind, it's not going to be a sweep. We're going to take them down in 5 games though. It's the wild card Florida Panthers. We have one final team to beat here, the Florida Panthers. Everett, do not screw this up. Just win a Stanley Cup here, and it's finally happened. The Everett Elks can finally celebrate. This took way too long. Show to Nordgren. He's going to be leading the way. 22 points. That man stepped up when it mattered most. Joe Iginla, he stepped up as well. 14 goals. I need to rely on him. Vladimir, he picked up 12 goals. He's always doing his thing here. But when it comes to goaltending, Rich Ritchie, you were that guy for us. 16 wins, 2 shots, a 929 and a 214. We needed some big time players to make some big time plays, and that's exactly what he did for us. So now that we won our first Stanley Cup, I think it's about time we set some realistic expectations. 3 more Stanley Cups. We're winning 4 in the final 4 years. So normally I'm not excited about a late first round pick, but we just got a 76 overall sniper. More than likely this guy's going to play 1 year in juniors, then he's going to join the team. He's already got 2 X factors. Do I just put him on our team already? Like, he could play some 4th line minutes for us. Yeah, he's only a 76 overall, but this guy could be elite. Alright, so when it comes to Cameron, more than likely he's not going to be rejoined the team here. He's just going to be traded away. He's looking for 5.3 million, so yeah, we can't do that. You're qualified as an RFA. Rich Ritchie, we are going to bring you back. We don't have the money for you right now, but we're going to make that money. We're going to trade Devin Levi away. We'll trade somebody else away. We'll find some money for you. When it comes to literally everyone else on this team, they're all going to be walking. Kadri, can we lock you down on a long-term deal? I'll do 3 years at 1.8 million. You played third pairing minutes for us last season, so you can do it again this season. Nordgren, what happened to being loyal to the soil? I brought you onto this team. I drafted you myself. And what are you doing? Asking for $15 million. What happened to being loyal to the Everett Elks here? We selected you with the first overall pick in 2025, and you're not going to stay loyal to the soil here? Despicable. Joe Iginla, we traded for you, and you're not going to stay loyal to the soil? $11.5 million for 1 year? It's not happening. These 2 medium elite potential players, we're just going to ride out their contracts. I'm going to be completely honest. We're just going to ride out their contracts for this season, trade them away. Cameron, you're being traded away right now. Alright, y'all gotta let me cook here. I'm making a massive deal. Nordgren, we know you're not coming back to the team, so I'm gonna trade you over to the Islanders. Tucker, you were on this team a long time ago. Now it's time for you to return, and I'm assuming I can pay you less than $16 million. We're gonna get this medium elite potential sniper. He's also coming in the deal. 2 first-round picks and a second. This is a massive deal, but we're gonna get it done. I'll take the second rounder out. I do want to get this deal done with 2 first-rounders, though. So I'm actually willing to give up some assets of my own. I'll give you a third-round pick. A third-round pick's not gonna be enough, but I'm gonna try it. It almost was enough, though. All we have to include is a 7th round pick, and we're going to get this massive deal done. Multiple firsts, multiple elite prospects. They want 2 7th round picks. Okay, you're being a bit greedy here, but you know what? I'll give you a 6th round pick. I'm okay with giving up a 7th and a 6th, but this is OD. Like, I have to give up a 5th round pick as well. What are you guys doing here? But you know what? I'm happy we got that deal done. Alright, so I just realized the recording was paused. I just gave up both Islanders picks. I gave up Devin Levi, and I gave up one of our young guys. I can't remember which young guy it was. It was one of the RFAs. We got 2 elite players from the Vancouver Canucks. We got this guy right here, A2 overall, 18-year-old. He can immediately jump to the lineup, and then we got this guy as well. So we got 2 great players in this deal. It was well worth it. So we got 3 years left. So that means Rich Ritchie's going to be signed for exactly 3 years here. I'm going to give him exactly what he wants. It's going to be 9.35 for the next 3 years. You're going to be the guy for us. You have a superstar X factor now. That is good to know. Yeah, so trading for Chris Tucker was absolutely pointless because bro wants 13.5 million. So yeah, you're not coming back to this team. So do we just make the executive decision to ride out all the contracts we have here and just go for a Stanley Cup? Because Joe Iginla's not going to come back. Chris Tucker's not going to come back. Both these guys are going to get qualified as RFAs and trade away. I think we keep both these guys, lose them in free agency, but at least go for a Stanley Cup. Okay, so I was just taking a quick look at this team and managing our lineup before I did the overview. David Jiricek, why'd you drop to an 82 overall? Why do you have top 6 potential now? You are 31 years old. How are you already regressing? That doesn't even make any sense. Anyways, here's our team right here. Definitely going to make the playoffs. Definitely going to be one of the best in the entire league. Rich Ritchie, you're playing 90% of the starts. We have a 73 overall backup. He has medium elite potential though, so there is that. No, but in all seriousness, David Jiricek, why'd you just drop an overall? Bro, how are you an 82? Like seriously, you're 31 years old. You're telling me you dropped 4 overalls during the offseason? Like, how does that even work? So once again, we're going to finish at the top of the league first, a 56-21-5 record. I think we all saw this coming. Joe Ginla's having a career season, though, and that annoys me a little bit, seeing as he is going to be leaving the team. 96 points, 40 goals, 56 assists. Matt Poitras, he's going to be picking up 94 points. Vladimir, he's picking up 86 here with 47 goals. When it comes to the goaltending, Rich Ritchie, wow, who just saw this coming? You being absolutely incredible once again here. No matter what happens, we can always rely on Rich Ritchie being absolutely amazing here. We've got the playoffs and the San Jose Sharks in the first round. Let's dominate once again and go back to back. Alright, so a bit of context on how long this video is taken. Here's one PS5 controller, dead. Here's another PS5 controller, dead. I'm on my 3rd controller. I have 4 controllers now because these 2 keep dying so fast. But we have a 3-1 series lead. We're going to close out in game number 5 here, and we're not going to be able to do that. Okay, we're not blowing this. We are not going to game 7. Thankfully, we're going to be closing it out in game 6. So we've moved on to the second round after taking the San Jose Sharks down. We have the Chicago Blackhawks up next. This team has won 5 straight series. We're about to make it 6. Now, I'm not going to lie. I really like the momentum that the Everett Elks have, and I don't want to screw this up. The second I said that, we dropped game number 5 and we dropped game number 6. Why did I start talking? So just completely ignore that thing I said about momentum and let's start playing some good hockey here. And that's exactly what we're doing. 4 goals in the first period is going to be more than enough. So we made it back to the conference finals yet again. We have the Calgary Flames up next. We are 8 wins away from going back to back here. So let's just take it one game at a time. So let's not mess things up now. We're 1 game away from making it to the Stanley Cup final. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're closing it out in 5 games here. Here we go. The Stanley Cup final for the 2nd year in a row. Looking to go back to back. And all we have to do is beat the Buffalo Sabres. The Everett Elks have struggled in the past, but they know what it takes to win. Yeah, you guys saw those first 3 games. You know what we have to do from here on out. No, like seriously though, why can this team not just show up when it matters most? All we have to do is play great hockey for a couple periods and then we'll be good. But nope, we're going to be tied 3-3 entering the 3rd period. And what's going to happen? Nothing. So we need overtime to sell this one. Vladimir, it's set up for you to score the winner. Porter Martone, you're the ops. So this team had an opportunity to go back to back here, but what are we immediately going to do in the Stanley Cup final? Lose the first 3 games. You can't be losing the first 3 games if you want to win a Stanley Cup. Ask the Edmonton Oilers. They learned that the hard way. The team performed though. The offense was great. The goaltending was great. But when push came to shove and we needed to step up in the most important game of the season, we just weren't able to do that. We're going to be following the Stanley Cup final, but I know for a fact we're going to be making it back for next season. But I will say right now, I want to be running the exact same team for our final 2 years. So we're going to be making as many trades as humanly possible in order to run the same team 2 years in a row. We just traded the 1st overall pick to Vancouver. That is tough. There's going to be a franchise potential star we're missing out on. We got that pick from the New York Islanders, traded over to Vancouver, and it became the 1st overall. You hate to see it. I mean, at least it's not a franchise potential player, so I can live with it. But if that turned out to be like an 87 overall franchise player, no, that would have been a tough look. Well, we've definitely seen prospects like this before with the 131st overall pick, a medium elite potential goaltender. Okay, now Joe Ginla, you just had an incredible season. You're 91 overall, and we actually have the money for you. We have $16 million to work with. However, we do have this medium elite potential player right here who's a couple years younger, and he's asking for less money, so we're going to bring him back instead. We're going to do $8.5 million for the next 4 years. That still gives us $8.5 million to work with. Lindback, I would like to keep you on this team as well. What are you looking for? Okay, these are the 2 guys we're going to re-sign. I'll give you $7 million for the next 3 years, but both of these guys are going to be coming back, and then Tucker and Ginla are going to be leaving. So running the same team for the next 2 years is actually going to be really easy. The only guy that we actually have to re-sign here is Axel Sedin-Pellikka, and we're going to have enough money for him. We're going to do $13.5 million for the next 3 years. So running the same team for the next 2 years is actually going to be really easy. Axel Sedin-Pellikka, here's $12.9 million for the next 3 years. That's going to keep you around. That's a majority of our money here, but we're about to free some up. Alright, now this might seem like a stupid trade, but we need as much free money as possible. So Jiricek, you're off to the Islanders. We're picking up Cooper at 50% retained. I'm willing to give up my 1st round pick, but I'm willing to give up more than my 1st round pick. I'm willing to give up 2 1st round picks. But first, I'm going to see if they want a mediumly potential goaltender. It looks like they do. Maybe this guy's going to make the difference. I'm going to send this package over. They're saying no. I'll give up 2 1st round picks. But if a second rounder will make the difference, I'll offer a second rounder instead. They're going to say no to that one. How about 2 second round picks? If you accept 2 second round picks, then we won't use 2 first, but it looks like they want 2 first rounders. We're doing whatever we can to save money here because we need to be able to save a bit of money. Here's 2 first round picks, and we're getting that deal done. All right, so we're going to give out a couple more extensions. The first is going to Douglas. We'll do 2.5 for the next 2 years. I'm not going to bring back Hyman, but I will sign a young rookie. That's 77 overall that we drafted a couple years ago that had 2 X factors we got late in the first round. He'll be joining the team this season. So I believe this is going to be our final trade. It's going to be 2 second rounders and a third over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're getting Anderson for the next 2 years. Will you retain 50% of his money? If I can save $1 million, I'll definitely do it. So hopefully they're willing to retain $1 million here. I'm going to send that over. They're going to say no. Do you want a medium elite potential goaltender? I know I have a few. So I'll give you this medium elite potential goaltender just for you to retain $1 million. They're saying no. What else do you want here? Like, if I recall, I have one medium elite potential player here that's only like a 50 overall or something. If that man's still a 50 overall, I'm willing to trade him away. It doesn't look like he's a 50 overall, but I do have this left defenseman who has a lot of potential, and he does fit your trade block. So do you want him? There we go. So we're down to the final 2 years, and this is the team that we're going to be rocking here. You might notice one thing when looking at this team. 1, there's a lot of X factors, but 2, where's Long? Well, it turns out that Long actually doesn't play for this team anymore. Well, I mean, he technically does play for this team, but he's going to be a healthy scratch from here on out. Long has been moved to the bench, 84 overall with medium elite potential. The only lines he actually fits on are the top 6, and since he's not playing there anymore, he's actually going to be removed from the team. He's going to be a healthy scratch here, so I am paying that man $6 million to be a healthy scratch for us. You know what I could have done with that $6 million? Freed up a bit more money and then brought Joe Ginla back to the team, but instead, nope, we're going to pay Long to not play for us. Yeah, I'm doing something here. Not really too sure what I'm doing, but I'm cooking somehow. So the Everett Elks are once again one of the best teams here, second with a 50, 26, and 6 record. We struggled a little bit, but the thing we have to understand is this team's going to be better next season. A lot of the young guys are going to be even better, so I'm not worried too much. Poitras going to lead the way, 93 points. Sedin Pelka's picking up 77. Muzzin 69. Good to bring him back to the team. And Vladimir, just keep on doing what you're doing. When it comes to the goaltender, Rich Ritchie, you already know he's the guy for us. 42 wins, 5 shots at 907 and a 284. We've made it to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals here. We're looking to make it 3 straight, but we're looking to win another Stanley Cup. We're not talking about the disappointment we had last season. We all know what we went through. We're just going to get back and get our revenge. So the boys are rolling right now. We have a 3-1 series lead against the Chicago Blackhawks, and you already know we're not going to screw this up. We're not going to screw this up, right? We're not losing back-to-back. I hate this team. I hate this team so much. Everett, the second I think you're about to do good, you just do something like that. All right, Game 7 of the first round. The Everett Elks taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. We're entering the third period. We have a 2-goal lead. We got this lockdown unless something stupid happens. Bedard, you're not that guy, pal. So we're moving on to the second round here. Chicago put up a much bigger fight than they should have, but now we better be ready. We're taking on the Winnipeg Jets next, the best team in the NHL. We can't be folding here. We have to play our best hockey in every single game. Now, this team's got me concerned. We dropped the first 2 games. We might have responded in the next 2, but we can't be playing bad like that. We've won 3 straight. Let's just make it 4 straight, move on to the conference finals. That's exactly what we're doing here. All right, no more messing around. We got the San Jose Sharks. Let's just sweep this team. We'll take them out in 4 games and move on to the Stanley Cup final. It's not going to be 4 games. It's not even going to be 5 games here. It's going to be a minimum 6 games. Okay, what happened to our elite defense? What are we doing here, guys? So things were looking great for the Everett Elks, and then they decided they don't know what defense is. So we got to lock in when it matters most here. We've been playing good defense so far, but it's not good enough. The offense has to wake up in the third period, and the defense has to wake up as well. We can't be struggling. What are we doing here? 1 more year to win 1 more Stanley Cup. We have won 1 Stanley Cup in 14 years. The Everett Elks are the biggest disappointment, but am I really surprised? A team that constantly loses their players is struggling here. Who would have seen that coming? This team has just constantly dealt with poor management, and that's even affecting us in a rebuild like this. The San Jose Sharks Stanley Cup champions, even though I'm the GM for this team and I'm trying to rebuild them, their past history is still affecting them. Also, Vancouver got the 8th overall pick from the Islanders, which is a pick we traded them. So we traded the 1st overall and the 8th overall. Sick to my stomach. But don't worry, we're running it back with the exact same team here. A lot of the young guys are getting better. There's no one aging out on this team. We should be able to win a Stanley Cup next season. I'm not even doing the draft here. I'm not worried about the re-sign phase. I'm simming right to next season. This team's about to get back. So we got 1 more season to do this. 1 more season to win 1 more Stanley Cup. The Everett Elks have had 0 success whatsoever here. Nobody's even wanted to stay with this team. In 2025, we drafted a player 1st overall, and that man was an absolute superstar for us, and we paid him accordingly. And then the second he needed a contract extension, nah, I want $17 million. If you don't pay me that, I'm leaving this team. Nobody wanted to stay loyal to the soil here. We've basically traded for every single player here. We've barely drafted anyone. One guy we did draft, though, Rich Ritchie, and he's been incredible for us. us, an 89 overall goaltender, superstar X Factor, even Frank here. We drafted this man 70th overall. He's an 83. The only players that we've been able to draft and keep on this team are goaltenders. Outside that, we've had to trade for almost everyone. Not a single player wanted to stay loyal to the soil with the Everett Elks. I mean, Jim Muzzin did. We traded him away, but then we brought him back to the team. But nope, we've traded for almost this entire team here. But that's just what we had to do around here. Nobody wanted to stay loyal to the soil. It's the Everett Elks culture. Nobody stays for longer than they should. Alright, so in our final season, the Everett Elks are first in the entire league, a 62-16-4 record. This means absolutely nothing to me. Matt Poitras, I think you might be the first player here picking up 100 points. Vladimir's also picking up 100 points. Axel Sedin Pelka, 85 points. He's over a point a game. But the regular season scoring means nothing to me. The regular season goaltending scares me a lot. Bro, you posted an 892 and a 309. What are you doing? You are an 89 overall, the best goaltender in the league, and you're putting up numbers like that. We have the Nashville Predators in the first round. 16 wins is going to give us the Stanley Cup, and it's going to give us our second Stanley Cup of the video. We got to finish this off with a bang. And this team's going to need all sorts of momentum, so we can't stop and look at the playoff picture whatsoever. We just got to keep on rolling. Can we sweep the Nashville Predators to start? It doesn't look like it. As long as we don't blow a 3-0 series lead, I'm going to be happy. Okay, we allowed 6 goals in that last game, so I am a bit concerned here. But you know what? We're moving on. We have the Minnesota Wild up next. We're going to take them down to quick sweep. The Everett Elks can't be messing around here. We can't take any team lightly, and that's exactly what we did against Minnesota. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no way that the Everett Elks are just going to be a massive disappointment once again here, and we're going to lose in the second round. Okay, we're dominating the Minnesota Wild. We're going to be taking Game 5 away. So we took Game 5 away, but goaltending has been a massive question mark for this team. It has not been good whatsoever. Luckily, we do have a 3-1 lead in this game, so unless we choke it away, we'll be all right here. Okay, we scored a ton of goals here in the third period. We're taking this one 8-3. Now, the only concern I have heading into Game 7 is, did we just use up all of our offense? Like, in the past 2 games, we scored 14 goals combined, so we got to make sure that we keep on scoring here. We're picking up a goal in the first period. In the second, Minnesota's going to keep this close. It's going to be a 1-goal game entering the third period, but luckily we're going to be scoring late in the third period here, but that's not going to be good enough because we allowed 2 straight goals. Are we going to choke to the Minnesota Wild? Nope, we're going to score a shorthanded goal to send us to the conference finals. We don't deserve to be here. Now, we don't deserve to be in the conference finals right now. The Minnesota Wild should have smoked us there, but you know what? They allowed us to win, and now we're in the Stanley Cup final in our final season of the rebuild. We're taking on the Washington Capitals. Let's sweep the Washington Capitals and finish this off as Stanley Cup champions. It looks like we're going to be able to do that. A 3-1 series lead. Everett just needs to win one more game here, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're finishing this off as Stanley Cup champs. When push came to shove, the big-time players made big-time plays here. And who is one of our big-time players? Matt Poitras, 23 points. Rodney's going to be picking up 22 here. Jim Muzzin's picking up 22. Lindback's going to be picking up 21. So the big-time players did show out. And Rich Ritchie, honestly, weren't even that good. 15 wins, 1 shutout, a 917, a 270. But hold on, Philip Frank, 1 win. This man had 1 win, a 954 and a 169. If you made it to the end of the video, comment Philip Frank. Without this man, we're probably not winning this final Stanley Cup. But the video's come to an end here. 15 seasons are in the bag and only 2 Stanley Cups. We should have won 5. The Everett Elks, a constant disappointment. But you know what? That's just what the Everett Elks are. A constant disappointment. Always losing all their players. And I'm sad to say, but this is the final video we're going to see with the Everett Elks. So shout out to an amazing team that gave us a lot of memories, but it's time for them to be retired.